Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all. Family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. Hello. Welcome back to the Yegi project. Today we have an eyelash marketing expert who we've had in the past. Over 2 years ago, we picked his brain, but now I'm excited to ask him even more detailed, more, fine-tuned question about everything that's been going on in the lash industry and the marketing side of it. Sohayb, welcome to the Yegi project. Again, welcome back. Please tell our listeners, who are you and what do you do?
Of course. First off, thanks for having me back. You were one of the first people to support me when I started 3-4 years ago. And
That's
you
what
used my
I do.
you used my services, you put me on the podcast, you've always supported me, so I'm always grateful for you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And
Thank you too. You've been a huge help on my business on the services side. So thank you. Right back
of
at you.
course, I appreciate that. And yeah, so as far as my stories, yeah, I started doing marketing for lash artists about 4 years ago, right after COVID happened. And so what I do is I help lash artists go from 2 to 4 people a week to 15 to 25 people a week through paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. And when we started, I was really just simply doing ads and getting them lead generation. But now fine tuned it to where it's okay, your Instagram, this is what works on Instagram, this is what's working with the ads, and then we pump ads on top of that, and we really figured out how to go from no clients to more clients, much more predictable now, which is the game.
Yes, of course. Practice makes perfect. So, and you are in such a specialized niche industry doing marketing for a specific, very specific type of services, and not all of it. You're very specific to Facebook, Instagram, and to lash artists who want to grow their services. So I think that really sets you aside, apart from everybody else who has a more general client base. So you must really, really know your customers or your target audience and what they need to build their clients. Um,
100%, yeah. I
and I
think that's
can't
what
wait to
really
pick your brain about that, honestly. But before that, I do want to ask you some more general icebreaker questions, just so we can get to know you a little bit on the fun side. On top of your head, what are your top 3 books or movies that you recommend?
top 3 books. Outwitting the Devil. I've probably purchased that book over 40 times and given it out to everybody. I think that's what every entrepreneur person needs for personal development. So, Outwitting the Devil, number one. Let's see, I have all my books here. Okay, I'll go. So, book, Outwitting the Devil. Movie, The Dark Knight,
Okay.
Batman. I don't know why I love that movie, but I've watched that too many times. And then, um,
Favorite food? That's fine. We'll do the third one as favorite food.
I'll go mac and cheese and steak.
Awesome. All right. If you could be an animal, what animal would you choose and why? The first animal that comes to mind.
I'd be a gorilla.
Why?
Because they're super strong. First off, they bench press like 2,000 pounds, and they're just and they're obviously they're massive and they're just so dominant. Gorilla would be my choice right there.
All right.
See,
Awesome.
most entrepreneurs would say lion or
I know. I
something
was
basic
looking
like
for
that.
that.
No. I'm going gorilla.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Third and final question. If you had a superpower, first thing, and one superpower, what would it be and why?
I'm pretty basic. I'd say to fly. Because you
Why?
want to travel, get to places quick, either like a transportation or transport or flying. I think flying would be funner though. But yeah, just to go travel. I like to go around, see everything, so flying.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so let's go back to your story. So you picked such a specialty field to specialize in within marketing. Now, what led you to this? Can you share your story with us? How did it start? Maybe out of high school, out of college? Like, how did you end up where you are today?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I didn't expect to have a business in the lash industry marketing. So around about 7 months after the pandemic, my girl at the time was a lash artist, and we moved from Virginia to California. And she needed help building her books. And I was doing like online marketing for personal training, and I was making decent money. And then she was like, "Can you try that for me?" I was like, "Yeah, like let's see what happens, you know." So the first week I ran an ad, she booked 25 people. And then I'm like, okay, maybe we got lucky, like cool, whatever, it might work, you know? But so I didn't even think about it. I just left the ad running, kept optimizing it. And then about 2 to 3 months went by, and I'm like, okay, how's your business doing? Like, you look really busy. And she was making like 10 to 14 thousand a month from the house. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how did you do this? You're like, your ads. I'm like, I forgot it was running. And then so I did it for 3 other girls in different states, and they all crushed it. And then that's how I got into the lash industry, and then had pretty exponential growth from there.
Awesome. But for your background, you were already playing around or working within the marketing space, but in different fields.
Yeah, but that was only for about 6, 7 months. So I wanted to be a celebrity personal trainer. That was my goal.
Nice.
So I wanted to be a celebrity
Isn't it
trainer when I was
crazy
in
how our path is just shaped for us in so many different ways? It just leads us to where we need to be. It's like, don't have a
100.
plan, just kind of go with the flow of things.
Go the flow, and everything you're doing is building you for your next opportunity. You know, so I just kept. So I'm constantly learning, constantly reading. Like, you might not. I mean, I thought I was gonna be a celebrity trainer, but ended up doing this, and I love it. But yeah, so I wanted to be a celebrity trainer. So one day, a lot of people don't know this story. So one day, I'm following a guy on Instagram who is big in the digital marketing space, and this was when I was in Virginia. And he made a post saying he's looking for a personal trainer. He was like kind of a celebrity in the entrepreneur space. So that same exact day I was at my security job, while I'm at work, I booked a flight, a red-eye flight, and then I flew to San Diego, and I showed up to his office the next day, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be your personal trainer. I just pitched myself, and he was like, all right, I'll give you 1 month.
Wow.
If it works, cool. If not, then, you got to go on your way. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it.
So you just
So,
randomly showed up and cold pitched him because you knew you
ran,
wanted to work with this guy.
exactly. I'm like, hey, I want to
Wow.
be your trainer randomly. So,
Very
so,
brave.
so when I did that, and he said, you good to go. So this was on a Monday. He said yes. So I flew back to Virginia, and my girl at the time, who was the lash artist, I'm like, hey, I need to go to San Diego. So we actually broke up same day. And she was like, out of nowhere. We dated for like 2 years. And I'm like, hey, I got to go to San Diego. I got a crazy opportunity. So I broke up with her, took my car, took my Rottweiler, and then we drove cross country.
Oh
And
my
then I
God.
started working with her. And she ended up coming out 2 months later, after we figured things out. But I had to go. I had opportunity. I
It
couldn't
was
miss
your
it. So
calling, yeah.
I had to do it. So then I trained him for about 2 years, and so he taught people how to run paid ads. So I was in all of his classes for 2 years. I was like a fly on the wall every day, you know, and I didn't get paid much, but I got paid a lot in education.
Of
So
course.
I did that for 2 years, and then when COVID happened, he had to like let me go because he's like, I gotta focus. And then that's when I applied everything he taught me for online coaching, and I made good money with that. And then that's when the opportunity came to help her, and then that kind of went from there.
Amazing, amazing. Awesome. Now, honestly, I'm a big believer of taking whatever opportunity is in front of you and running with it because you don't know where it's going to lead you. But sometimes this word fear, right, plays a big role in us missing some opportunities. When you personally hear that word fear, what comes to mind and what do you want to share with our listeners about fear?
Yeah, fear, false expectations appearing real. So fear
You have
isn't
that
real.
one ready, huh?
That's how I feel about it. Fear is not real. False expectations appearing real. Like, you think something bad is going to happen, but like, what if something good happens? So the way I make decisions, okay, what is the worst case scenario? And if I'm okay with the worst case scenario, and I can come to terms with it, then I take action on it. But if I'm not okay, then I won't do it. So worst case scenario of me quitting my job, going to San Diego. It doesn't work out. I have to go back to Virginia and live with my mom, get a job at Panda Express, do that for about 6 months, save up $5,000 and try again. That was my worst case scenario.
And
I
you
already
were
had it
okay
all.
with it.
And I'm like, I have no ego. I'll go get a job. I don't care. I like Panda Express. I get free food. I already know they pay 15 an hour. Like, I already
Honestly,
had a
that's a
whole bag.
really cool way of kind of like giving yourself an insurance policy, right? Okay, what's my worst case scenario and can I live with it? I think anytime we fully think through that, most of the time the answer is yes, but people don't take the time to
Majority.
like live through it and think through it.
Exactly. And so you have to so a lot of people, when they want to join my company, I'm like, hey, what's the worst case scenario? And we break it down. Like, are you going to go homeless? No. Is your kids, are you going to miss it out on food? No. Are you going to be okay? Yes. Cool. Do it. Like, that's the thing. But if you're like, no, I'm not okay with the worst case. I don't think I'm going to be able to make my bills next month. I don't think this makes sense. Like, then don't do it. And that's it. So
Find
once
a
you can
different option. Don't do it, right? Find a different option.
you have to pivot, but like whatever that decision is, you have to
All
pivot,
right.
if you're not okay with the worst case scenario. Exactly.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so now diving a little bit more deep about marketing questions, and we can skip any of them if you want, and we can cut that out.
No, no, yeah.
But what I just want to pick your brain. So, you we've talked about in the past selling low ticket items and high ticket items and the difference between that. I don't think a lot of people understand that, and sometimes it's kind of discouraging when you have something that's priced so high. So for example, in my case, I teach the classes for eyelash extensions, right? A class can be anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000. That's a high ticket price. So what's your advice on people who are trying to market their services, if it's a lower price service or a higher price service?
So the biggest thing that I've seen change in the past 2 years is people don't buy a product; they buy from people they like.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter, So it doesn't matter what the ticket costs, but they want to buy from Yegi. They want to buy from you. So you could charge $5,000. You could charge $50. They'll probably buy it because they know, like, and trust you. So when it comes to the product price, so like low ticket, I don't like because it causes too much volume. Like, especially like in the lash industry, I don't know what the low ticket would be as far as, like, are you talking coaching or product or what exactly? Because product,
well,
obviously, you
services,
have your
right? So
margin.
our most of our listeners for this episode are probably going to be lash artists who want to like market their services, which is the eyelash extension services.
Okay.
So for
Yep.
that, so applying like a classic set, a volume set. So for yeah, for them.
So what I say for that is I want you to start, depending on where you're at, medium low on the full set and then high on the fill prices. Because you need to be very competitive for the full sets. Like, a lot of people charge 350, 400 for a full set, or 250. I'm like, depending on where you're at, of course. I'm like, there's no need for that. And then they charge 60 for a classic fill for 2 weeks. I'm like, no, don't do that. I'd rather you charge 120 or 100 for a fill and 120 or 130 for a full set, because you make money off the fills. So I like to be competitive with the full sets, charge medium low, and then high on the fill prices, because that's betting on you. That's betting on your retention, your customer experience, how the client feels, and it's going to make them want to come back. So that's what I think how they should leverage themselves when it comes to setting up their pricing.
Awesome. All right. So my next question to you is, if you are setting up a new service launch, so like a new ad campaign for a client, what's your process with that as far as working with that specific client?
Yeah, so we're going to collect whatever photos they have. I mean, if not, there's a bunch of AI things to do, but I like to have what they're actually producing. So I'll take their stuff. Um, I'll get a campaign going. But one thing I like to say is, like, ads aren't an initiator, they're an accelerator. Like, ads don't, you should, if you're brand new and you have literally no clients, no post on Instagram, it doesn't matter if you have no clients, but nothing on Instagram, and you want to just pump ads, I don't think you should do that. You should wait till you have a few posts on Instagram, you have some momentum, and then we can send a ton of eyeballs to your page. So first things first, it starts with having a solid Instagram. And then from there, we set up the campaign. We take some good photos what are your best performing photos on your Instagram, and then we run those as ads. And then we run an offer, 20% off, 25% off offer, and we get you a ton of leads, and then you close them.
Perfect. So what's to kind of break that down a little bit, so what would be the number one thing a new lash artist should focus on as far as their presence, right? Because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about like having them some sort of a presence, and we're
Exactly.
specifically talking marketing on Instagram and Facebook. There's other forms, we're not focusing on that right now, so that's why the number one thing he mentioned is having some posts on Instagram. So can you talk a little bit more about presence and branding and all of that before, like what they can focus on before they pretty much contact you to do the next steps?
Yeah, 100%. So when it comes to Instagram, if your Instagram looks like a random photo you took from Google, like of your logo and a ton of eyeballs, I need you to change that. Okay, we need to know what your name is. Your profile picture should be a photo of you. I know you worked hard for your logo, you got your logo, you spent money on it. It needs to be a photo of you because, again, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. You know, you're a bigger brand and you're selling products, and the name Yegi carries weight, so it's different. Until you're there, what's going to separate you from another lash artist from the corner if it's just a random profile picture or an actual person? They're going to do that. So, profile picture or photo of you, your name needs to be somewhere on your bio. Your bio needs to, if your studio, should have your address and say, like, I help women feel beautiful, or take bios from people you like and kind of emulate that, and then have a book now on your thing. Like, there needs to be a call to action on your bio. Like, for me, it's DM us the word clients to get started. For you guys, it's DM me the word lashes to get started, something like that, so they have a call to action.
So they also know like what their next step is. Their next step is if they found you
Yeah,
randomly on social media, right?
exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you want that call to action to let them know exactly what to do next. And then on your actual Instagram itself, don't just have a bunch of eyeballs. Let people know you and be relatable and trust you. So I have a posting structure I teach everyone. Day one, something vulnerable, something about you, something about Yegi, your beautiful kids, your new studio, something you lashing, so something
I
like
could
that.
be
So
better
something,
at that too lately. I've been a little MIA.
yeah, so that, because then that's gonna make them relatable, and then you guys say, oh, I have 3 kids too. I'm gonna go lash with her. Like, then you guys have something to talk about. It just builds trust. So
People
something
want to connect with actual people. I think that's the
100%,
message, right? So we want to
100.
connect with people. And honestly, like my brand is fairly big out there with the lashes. I did get started as one of the first, so that was kind of working in my favor too. So I've built a pretty good brand recognition, but I too can learn from this and be like, hey, maybe I need to spend some more time on the daily and say hi to my customer base on stories and tell them how my day is going, no matter how busy I am, right? So we lose sight of that. So it's really good even for me to work with people, new people, and reconnect with different strategies to kind of get things going again, or to get things to the next level. So
100%, because you already have such great brand recognition and you already built something. So now, if you can just get out there a little bit more, it's going to build more trust, and you have such a head start that it'll be so easy for them to fall in love with you and trust you. Because at the end of the day, trust is the biggest thing. And take
yeah.
it from somebody that is a male in the lash industry selling marketing. Trust is the hardest thing to build. And if I
It
can build trust in the industry of women as a man selling marketing, which is such a sketchy thing, that's what you guys have to do, is
And
build
that's
trust.
about the networking and the testimonials. And I think you do such a great job with that. And I'll advise our listeners to do the same. You get customer reviews and
You,
testimonials.
you, you have to. So what I've done for the past, since we started for like 4 years now, every day for the past 4 days, I posted a new video testimonial. Every day for this. So we have
Wow.
over 600 video testimonials. So that's the biggest thing, is that social proof and that trust. So let me go back to the structure, because that's one of them. So day one is relatable vulnerability post, something about you, your life,
Well, make sure
nothing
you
to
guys
do
are
with life.
writing this down or go back and
Sure.
listen to it again.
100%. And then day two is something educational, something to educate your audience. Or for you would be business coaching. For them would be how to wash your lashes. You have bugs on your lashes. Make sure you clean them, whatever, right? Why you need a fill. So something to educate your audience. And then day three is something motivational, something to motivate your audience. And then day four is your testimony, something to show your skill set. And all of these can be done. Like, I like to post 3 to 4 reels a week and about 2 to 3 posts a week. So it's not just reels all the time. And you want to do some where you're talking on camera. The more you can talk, the better. I know a lot of people are scared of it. I hated it, but I had to make that jump, and it really built trust with
Everybody
people.
hates it. I've worked with a lot of people too, and everybody hates it at first. So I hated it at first too, because you honestly look and sound different than you think you do.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
takes some time for you to get used to your camera personality versus your like self. You guys will know what I'm talking about it once you like get through that curve. But it really just, you just have to suck it up and do it and say it's good enough. Like, you're never gonna love it, because sometimes when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we see something different, and on camera it catches something different, and you're just gonna have to be okay with the imperfection.
You have to, and the best way to think about it too is, like, you can't focus on the response and the likes. You have to focus more on just getting it out there. I don't look, when I make a post, I'm not looking like how many likes, how many comments. Like, I don't care. I'm just like,
Same.
hey, I'm I genuinely go into it like, how much value can I put out there? How can I help people with this motivational post or with this tip? And then that's all. And then everything else falls into place.
Same, and
So
that's been my strategy forever. It really works, and honestly, I see that in your business too. It's about having quality likes, quality followers, compared to just having the quantity of people that are just on there that are never gonna convert into customers, or that are never gonna add any value to you or your what you're doing, right? So I think a lot of people lose sight of that, and it's discouraging for them when they feel like instead of getting 800 likes they're getting like 20, but I rather get 20 quality likes that are going to help me compared to 800
random.
unrealistic, yeah, random.
And the thing about that is so many people, this is a big issue I see with a lot of people. They focus so much on the results. And yes, the results are important. You need results, but you can't focus on the results. You have to focus on the work. You have to focus on the day-to-day process. It's so corny, but like the journey is really everything, and the results are just a byproduct. I promise you, because if you every day can focus on, okay, did I get my post up? Did I send that email? Did I message all the people I needed to message? Did I put in the work today? And it doesn't matter if, because eventually the results are a byproduct. It's just like fitness. If you eat the right foods every day, if you train every day, if you eat the foods you're not supposed to eat and you avoid that every day, if you can do that over a long period of time, you will get good results. So many people are like, because if you go week to week, they're like, oh my God, I didn't lose any weight. Oh my God, I didn't make any money. Oh my God, I didn't get any likes. If you go week to week, you will drive yourself crazy.
Yeah,
You will
some
be
people
like,
even
man,
go day by day and it's
oh
just
my, it,
horrible.
it it's so bad for you mentally. It's like I am really low stress because I know every single day I'm giving it exactly everything I got. I'm giving everything. I'm putting it all out there on the table. So, and then you have to be self-aware to be like, hey, if I've been doing this for 6 months and I'm not where I want to be, maybe I'm just not good enough and I need to improve. Like you have to have that
Or I
self-aware
need to
talk. So
try
it's not,
something different.
I need to try something different. Like I'm just not there yet, so I need to keep going. But the only way you can fail truly is if you stop, if you quit. But you have to keep pushing, and you can't focus on the result. Focus on the day to day.
So let me ask you this follow-up question. So of course we don't want to look at certain things on the daily, on the weekly. So what's realistic? So any goal that we have or anything that we're working on, what's realistic? How often do we want to kind of touch base and pivot or let go and try something else? What's your
That's a
strategy? Let's for you specifically. Let's say you're working on an ad campaign. How do you manage through that for you personal, for your personal ads or for your clients?
that's a great question. So I would say because it's more granular than that. It's like okay, I got the ads running, and I'm doing what I got to do on Instagram, and I'm doing what I have to do on Facebook groups. And I'm collaborating with people. I'm doing all that. So at the end of the week, I'm like, okay, what are my results?
My
And I'm like, okay,
results, is it the likes? Is it the follows? Is it the clients that are being booked? What are we focusing on as results?
how much money did I
Okay.
make?
Yeah,
How
that's
much
the
money
end
did I
goal,
bring in?
right?
You know what I mean? How much money did I bring in? 100%. So, but okay. So, for instance, if you're a new artist and you have no people, it's like, okay, how many people did I get this week? Zero. How many people did I get next week? Three. How many people did I get next week? Two. Okay, why did someone else take? So, I'm tracking it, but I'm not getting discouraged. So, the key with that is yes, you should be tracking your metrics. It's different from tracking your metrics in the business to tracking your progress. Does that make sense? Because the progress is like, am I constantly growing? But the day-to-day metrics is like, okay, we had 5 people book, but only 3 people stayed. Okay, then we can pivot and figure out why those 2 didn't stay, then we can fix that. So that's more like business numbers. That's a daily thing. But I'm talking overall success and growth. Is my bank account going up? Is my fitness getting better? Is all my numbers headed towards the right direction?
I see. And we want to look at that kind of like a more bigger picture type of thing, maybe like monthly or
Exactly.
quarterly.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, I have my big grand goal, and then I reverse engineer my grand goal. I'm like, okay, am I headed towards that direction?
Now, I know you've worked with coach before. Can you share your experience with that? Because I'm a big believer of working with coaches as well. Um, and also, are there any stories you want to share where you feel like you needed like an outsider person's point of view to kind of be
Yeah,
like, hey,
you,
yeah,
you
this is
do.
what I need
You,
to do.
you do because you're so in it. And for me, like my coach, is where I want it to be. So I'm only going to take advice from people I want to be like them. I want to be in the position they're in. I'm not going to take code advice from people that are at the same level as me or at a lower level, because I don't want to be in that position. I want to be ahead. So that's rule number one, finding a coach. Find someone is where you want to be and take their advice. And honestly, the biggest story with that is, I mean, as you know, I think I told you this, my coach was $100,000. I just wired him the money direct, 100K in one day.
You invested in yourself all in.
Significant. I mean, every year my coaching budget goes up. When I first started, it was $500 the first year when I was 19, and then the next year was $2,000. The next year was $10,000. The next year was $25,000. So as my income went up, my personal development budget continues to go up. So every year I'm trying to break that. I've spent well over $500,000 on coaching, education, courses, because if you think about it, Michael Jordan had a personal trainer named Tim Grover. Kobe had a personal trainer. The Rock has a trainer. All these high-level athletes, all these high-level people have coaches. So you don't need a coach in business? Of course not. You have to have a coach in business.
Even in life.
100%. Great, exactly. You need a coach in every aspect, whether it's, when I have a family, I'm going to call you and, hey, what does this work? No, honestly, like, you have to, you're where I want to be. You have 3 kids. Hey, this happened. Look, what do I do? You know, so I'm going to take advice I'm going to seek counsel from people where I want to be and ahead of me. And that's in every aspect. So, yes, my personal training, my personal development budget goes up as my income went up. It goes hand in hand.
I just want to pause there and really highlight that, because it's so important to invest in yourself. And I think a lot of people forget to do this. And I love that your budget goes up. Like, you significantly pay attention to it and you make it a point to increase the budget. You literally have an item that's just for personal development. Honestly, I don't have that. I just kind of throw in whatever I need at the moment. But it's so good to have a specific goal and be like, okay, this is my budget. If I haven't spent this money on myself, on personal development, I better do it like before the year ends. So I think
I've attributed growth to personal development, because it is. That's how you
it works. That's the only way we're going to be able to change. So that's also why I like to focus on personal development and business development on the podcast, because if I were just to talk to you about the marketing side of it, but the person who is not mentally, like, personally developed to take the jump and pay for something like that to improve their business, it's not going to happen. It really, like, takes the right person doing the right things.
That's everything. That's everything. That's why I talk so much about mindset and personal development, because it's just like fitness. Most people think it's all working out. No, it's 80% what you eat and 20% the actual training itself. Same with business. It's 20% skills and 80% mentality behind it. And the thing, when I did my personal, when I spent that money, I got so much value from just buying the coaching before the coaching even started, because that meant I believed in myself and I went all in. And I knew I was going to make more money, and I knew I was betting on me when I spent that money. So that alone was, he didn't have to say a word to me, and I already got the value from the coaching, because I was like, damn, I really believe in me to spend this much money. You know what I mean? So that alone. Your
money's worth? Here's the hard truth question. Did you get your money's worth?
Again, my mentality is so strong. He couldn't have said anything to me, and I would have thought I got my money's worth, because I told, like, me investing that was enough.
It just changes something in your brain, yeah.
Exactly. So just me buying it was enough value for me. But of course, the first month we doubled my revenue just like that, because he's told me 4 things to do. Hey, do this, do that, do that, do that. I took action and I doubled my revenue. And it's good because he's an outsider and he can see my business he's not emotional to my business. He doesn't have a dog in the race. Like, he doesn't care. He's just like, hey, this is kind of where you're lacking at. This is what you need to change. I think that the things were, you need to get on camera. You need to hire a salesperson. You need to hire an account manager. And I always forget the 4th point. I forgot what it was, but he told me to start a podcast. So he told me to do these 4 things. I did it, and it doubled my revenue. Salesperson, account manager, and getting on camera really changed my business. And then since then, we would have 1 call a month. And a lot of coaching, like your coaching or someone else's coaching, it's a lot more hands-on. I had 1 4-hour day with him and 1 30-minute call a month for a year. That's it. That's why I paid $100
your results, though.
because I was going to take action on it and I was going to put in the work. A lot of people are like, hey, I paid you this money, now go help me. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's like, hey, I'm investing in myself. I'm going to do the best from what I can from what you said. A lot of people have expectations or they're waiting, that they think that you are going to save them. But that's not how it works. You're going to help them with where you see they're lacking, but they have to take action on it. And when you go into a coaching, you have to don't go into a coaching expecting that person to save you. You go into that coaching like, hey, I need help with this exact issue, and I go into it knowing what you need help with. So that's a mistake I made earlier when I did personal development. I would just do a course, seeing what happened, and it doesn't work that way.
Your goal.
I didn't have a clear goal, so now it's like, okay, hey, I need to get more clients. I'm going to go to this person to get coaching clients. Hey, my Instagram isn't that good. I need more engagement. I'm going to go to this person for this help. So once you get more clarity like that, once you get more clarity like that, now you're really going to get your money's worth, because you're going to know exactly what you need fixed, and you're going to plug that hole. And then you're going to find another issue, plug that hole. And then, hey, I feel stagnant. I'm going to go to this person who's ahead of me, and then plug that hole. So that's how you do your personal development the right way.
Gold. And I think you're just talking about it because you've learned and it comes natural to you now, because that's how you are. But that's gold. I want our listeners to pay attention to that. It's so important to get very clear on what you want to work on, because it could be so easy to say, oh, I need to make more money. But okay, yes, we all want to make more money, but exactly what part of your business do you want to focus on, and do one thing at a time. And that's why I think your business model I love so much is that you are so specific to the niche market of what you're doing. It's not, I'm going to do every single type of ad for lash artists. It's very specific. So going back to that, so what are the number or top 3 mistakes you've seen lash artists make when it comes to marketing?
For sure. So number 1 is their Instagram is eyeballs and a random photo. So that's the biggest mistake that I constantly see.
So they're not personally connecting. That's the thing, and they're not educating.
Yeah, if I go to your page and I don't know your name and I don't know what you look like, I'm not going to buy your services. And I tell people that. I'm like, okay, imagine I didn't post for 2 months and it was just a bunch of random photos, and I'm like, hey, pay me money. You'd be like, no, I'm not paying you money. I don't know you. Yeah. I'm like, okay. Then I asked them, what made you trust me? They're like, I saw your testimonials. I'm okay. You need to do the same thing. And I saw you on camera. Okay, dude. So, number 1 mistake is not personable on Instagram. It's just a bunch of eyeballs and a random photo. So that needs to be adjusted with the structure I taught earlier, and the profile photo, change that. Number 2 would be their expectations are so wrong. They expect, because they spend a few dollars on ads or something, that it's going to instantly return and they're going to make 10x. Sometimes if I spend, let's say, $100 a week on ads, and I get 1 client with that $100, or I get 2 clients, that's a win. You didn't lose money, you broke even on your money, and now you're getting more clients and you're building. Now you can get that 1 person to give you a referral, and that's how you start to build.
So I think fills.
Of course, so I think false expectations when it comes to marketing is an issue. It's like, just because you're marketing doesn't mean you should be successful. Like, the marketing has to be good, and you give it time, and it's a learning curve. So expectations. So poor Instagram, not personable, wrong expectations. And then the 3rd mistake would be, honestly, just a little bit lazy. They don't really, if someone likes your post and if you have no clients that day, that doesn't mean you just hang out. You need to get out there and you need to grind. You need to get on these Facebook groups. Anyone that likes your stuff, you have to go out there. You have to produce. If you post once a day and you have no clients that day, you should be posting twice that day. Post a ton of stories. Try to engage with people. Go out there. Tell people what you do. You have to get out there. So I think just sitting around waiting for people to message you, mistake. Your Instagram isn't personable. Just a bunch of eyeballs, mistake, and false expectations. And a lot of people, when it comes to success in general, whatever you think it takes to be successful, 10x that. It's way harder than you think. And it's going to take way more out of you than you think. And it's going to be a whole lot more volume than you think to be successful.
And a lot more emotional of ups and downs until you get to where you want to get.
100. And by the way, you'll never get where you want to get. You'll get close and you'll get farther ahead. But that's why I tell people, don't attach your happiness to the results, because you'll be very underwhelmed when you get there.
Oh yeah,
You
because
have
we
to
always want more. We
you
have
have
to
to
choose to be
attach
happy on the daily.
and that comes, but you have to attach your happiness to the daily work and the progress. Exactly. So I've attached my happiness to my progress and my daily success, not the overall goal. You know what I mean? Like you and I, we have nice stuff. Like when we get it, it's cool, right? Like, oh my god, I accomplished it, I got it. But then after that, you're like, back to work.
Now
You
what?
know,
What's next?
yeah, but you have to attach yourself to the daily work, and I can go to bed every night saying, "Dang, I really gave it everything I got. Like I really grinded that day. I'm happy.
And that's
Not I got
exactly
the
what causes the happiness when you know deep inside you did what you wanted to do and everything in your power. Um,
exactly.
all right, so let's talk numbers because we are running a little bit short on time. But I do want to, for our listeners, because we hear this, it sounds great. I want to jump and do more ads always, right? Because I know it has positive results into more revenue. Let's talk some numbers. For somebody who's new or has a low budget, how much are we talking about? I think it's important to kind of address that. Just rough ballpark. I know it's going to vary depending on the person and the client, but just so we know what we need to kind of either save up for 3 months and try to
Sure.
try to work with.
Yeah, just in general, when it comes to advertisements, I recommend everyone spend about 150 to 200 a week on ads. A lot of people might spend 40 a week or 50 a week. That's not enough. I think you need to spend at least 150 to 200. So have a budget of like $1,000
A
and then
month.
have that ready to deploy and have the expectation of losing that money.
And then a
Just like,
little
hey,
extra if you're working with a coach or somebody to help you with the ads. So
of
not over.
course, yeah. And then if you decide to do our services or work with someone else, then obviously you need to have a little bit more because now that money you're spending on ads, you're not guessing. So it's like, hey, the typical budget is like, let's say it's 175 a week, which is 700 a month. You can either guess and spend that money, and probably you have to figure it out. You have to test, see what's working, and try. So you can test, or you can spend more money and know that it's going to work. And I would rather pay for convenience, speed, and
Yeah.
predictability.
And
You
timing,
know,
you save a lot of time on that. That's a lesson I learned the hard way, and I keep learning over and over. Because as an entrepreneur, too, you just want to do everything, you want to learn everything, but it comes to a point where you have to be realistic and say, hey, these are my skills that I'm good at. This is what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to let the other experts focus on the other parts of my business so I could grow faster. So,
yeah, it is expensive to be cheap. I learned that lesson the hard way, and I still do. And I learned that lesson all the time. It is expensive to be cheap. I always try to find the best rate or the best price. But I'm like, no, it always ends up, you end up buying the thing you were supposed to get the first time, and now you bought the thing that you're not supposed to get, so you just ended up wasting more money. And you're like,
yeah,
oh my.
especially when it comes to certain things like advertising, coaching, trainings. I've learned that a lot of people have come to me too, even for eyelash trainings. They've taken so many courses and then they come, they're like, oh man, I wish I just did it from the start so I could have learned
Every time.
everything and not wasted time, you know?
Every time. It's the worst feeling, but we all have to do it. We all got to touch the stove and figure out that, hey, I'm just going to go do the right thing the first time.
All right, so my last question to you before we do our closing questions, what do you do to stay current with marketing and trends and technology? Because it is always evolving and changing.
It is. And so I get to cheat a little bit because we spend so much money a month on ads. I mean, we're currently spending close to $250,000 a month on ads collectively with all my clients and myself. So I have a little cheat code because I get to test, I get to spend a ton of money and figure it out. So that's how I stay up to date with everything. And I'm constantly looking. I have CNBC up right now. I'm seeing what the consumers are liking. So I'm a nerd. I'm always just researching and looking. So that's how I stay up to date. And I'm seeing what's working. I'm scrolling. I'm seeing who's getting good engagement. What are they doing? What's the current trend right now? So I'm constantly observant and looking. So that's how I stay up to date with everything. I'm spending a ton of money and I'm constantly having my eye open looking for that.
All right, perfect. Now, to close, can you tell our listeners your last words of encouragement and where can they find you and your services?
Yeah, last words of encouragement is that right now there's so many people not willing to put in the work. So many people that are entitled and not really looking to work hard, and it's such a big opportunity for people that are willing to just step up and take their spot. There's right now is the best time to be successful, because if you could just outwork everybody else, because a lot of people they don't
You're
know what
right.
it takes. They don't know. So I look at that and I'm like, oh my, it's so easy to be successful now because nobody wants it bad enough. So it's a great opportunity to be
Wow,
successful.
you're so right.
You have to just take that extra initiation, that step, and you will just dominate everybody.
Awesome. Well, honestly, that was the best advice I've heard in a minute, at least this year, actually, because it's so true. A lot of people, I work with a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, so I know a lot of people want the easy way out. We're in such a like quick making money scheme type of lifestyle, and everybody wants to be rich and famous, and nobody's willing to put in the work. So great closing advice. And where can they find you?
Yeah, find me at LashLaunch on Instagram, LashLaunch on TikTok, and send me a DM, say clients, and I got you guys. And
Yes,
honestly, if you
and
need any
we'll
help at all, just shoot me a DM, and I'd love to serve you guys.
Awesome, awesome. And we'll link everything below. And again, thank you so much for your time. Until next time. And thank you to our listeners. Bye.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.